when I grew up in the 1970s and 80s, this was a very, very different world. This war, this was like during the Cold War. It was a simple world. There was good people that lived in the West and bad people that lived in the East. But it was also the post-war years. Now, what the interesting thing about post-war, of course, is the catastrophe is behind us. Post-war, the Holocaust is behind us, the World Wars behind us, all the bad stuff. We've set up all these grand institutions, the UN, the WTO, the World Health Organization, you name it. We came out with the Refugee Convention, with the Human Rights Convention. We've done all the good stuff. We became multilateralists because we're kind of doing things differently now. It's very, very interesting. I remember I had a sort of a kind of a pen friendship with a very young French lady from Toulouse in sort of like the early 1910s. 11, 12, 13. And I remember her sending me an email, I think it was like, 2013, 14. And she, for the first time, used that term. I'd never heard of it before. It really resonated. She said, we're living in a pre-war period. And I thought that was so interesting because when you switch from a post-war mindset where the catastrophe is behind us to a pre-war period where the catastrophe is ahead of us, it changes everything. It changes mindsets. People become more guarded. People become more kind of polarized. People become more distrustful. The shadows go down. People become closed in. And it's very interesting. And there's very little room for big ideas. And people withdraw into their national kind of borders and into their nationalist kind of mindsets. It's a very, very interesting thing. And of course, I'm not suggesting that there's going to be a war tomorrow or like another or kind of a world war tomorrow, whatever, or the day after. But we are past that kind of medium kind of point, and we're heading towards a catastrophe, environmental, social, economic, you name it. And we all feel it. But of course, some people also know that the very system that is kept in place through constitutions, through law, the rule of law, through parliaments, through political parties, through liberal democracy, the very system that's been created for stability's sake is the very system that's going to push us over the edge. And the question is how, as artists, as filmmakers, how can we, and this is exactly the question you've asked earlier in the contradiction, how can we, operate in this environment without contributing to that dynamic?